Hello, guys. So, how are you guys today? What's up? Let me take my hair out of the ponytail. Move my position a little bit. How are you guys? There's that. So, how are you guys doing? I'm in my rocking chair downstairs, and this is actually my dad's office, but I thought it'd be fun to read down here. Who is watching? Hello. So I am going to be reading What Once Was Mine, which is something I've been doing a lot lately. So hopefully you enjoy this. Yeah, I am live. So yeah. Oh, awesome. Glad you're here. I'm going to be reading, and if you are following along with me, I will be reading Rapunzel's chapter on page 120. And yeah, I would, if you want to just listen, that's fine too. But this page starts with the moment her mother. That's the first part of it. So let's get started with this. That's what I'm reading right now. I'm reading a Disney book called What Once Was Mine. It is over the story of Rapunzel if she had the moonstone or the moonflower instead of the sundrop flower. Yeah, I'm not reading them right now, but there's one called Mother Knows Best that is also about Disney. It's about Mother Gothel. There's one called Reflection that's about Mulan. I haven't read those two. If you want one that's just made by the Disney company, one that I would always recommend is the Percy Jackson series. And there's also a TV show that is being made right now about that series, so if you want to read up on it before the TV show comes out, that would be one that I would recommend. Yeah. Do you like the movies, or are you wanting one that is just made by the Disney company, or what's another one? Yeah, those are the ones that I can. Oh, okay. So you don't like chapter books. Oh. Okay. Okay. Well, they always like to make them like the story of the Disney movies, or do you just like the characters? Yeah, okay. The stories, they sometimes make chapter books that are just the regular stories in movie form but in book form. I have one for Mary Poppins Returns that I read that was really good. I don't even know if they're making that book anymore, but it was pretty good when I read it. What else? And then the Percy Jackson series I talked about. It's not a classic Disney movie, but it is becoming a Disney TV show. It is the story of a teenage demigod who is the son of Poseidon, and they are making a TV show about that on Disney Plus. I really loved that series. The Twisted ones are probably the most well known, so those are the ones that I named off. But trying to think off the top of my head which ones you might like. Oh yeah, I have read those too. Those are, yes. There is also a couple about the Frozen Fever short that came out, or cartoon, whatever you want to call it. I don't think I've read the one about Frozen Fever. I read the one that's just a direct story about Frozen when that first came out. So I don't even know if you'd be able to find that anymore. I've not read this, but I know there was one about Mulan when the live action remake came out. I don't like that movie very much, but if you do, you might be able to find that. So yeah, those would be a couple that I would recommend. Have you tried books like these and you didn't like them? Because if you haven't tried them, I didn't think I would like them very much either, but they have become some of my favorites. And the Mother Knows Best one that I told you about is not like a twisted thing. It is about the villain. Yeah, that would actually probably be more likely, because that one came out in 2019. You can probably look on Amazon and be able to find it. Like I said, I don't know if the original movie one would still be up and ready to and able to get, because like I said, I got that when the movie came out. But you can always look for that, because I remember really liking that book. I also, talking about Mother Knows Best again, I don't know if you have ever read from that series, but it's telling the story of the villains. So it's giving you another perspective without twisting the story. And they're made by Disney, so I don't know if they're officially canon, but those kinds of books are there too. Like I said, Mother Knows Best is one. I think there's one over Maleficent and the Evil Queen. So those would be really interesting, I would assume, if you like that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff you can find. If you just type in Disney movies on Google, books about Disney movies, you can find a ton of stuff. You can also find some books about the making of Disney movies, if you're into that. Oh, okay. Okay, that would make sense. Yeah. I'm just someone that really likes the Disney villains, and it's okay if you don't like that. This is actually not about Disney villains, it's about Rapunzel. So, it's just a twisted story, but if you don't like that, I completely understand. It's not for everyone. I just like it because it's a twisted version of a story that I really like. Um, what else? I'm trying to think of these things. I don't know if you're a Marvel fan at all, but Marvel comics are always a good one to go with. I really like the website Hoopla. So if you are looking for a good place to find audiobooks and ebooks, and there's even some movie soundtracks on there, that would be a really good place to start looking. So I would recommend that too. Just that app. It's just Hoopla. Sorry, your comment went away before I could read it, so I gotta. Because some of the most twisted versions can be dark, that I have hard for a couple people on YouTube, and I found. Yeah, I understand. I definitely understand why you would think that. What else? I sometimes make videos over Star Wars. You can always find Star Wars books all over the place. I've never personally read any of them, but I've heard that those are really good. Oh, so you're wanting like kind of a happy kind of feel, or a joyful, not a like scary kind of thing? Is that what you're saying? Because if that's what you're going for, I would recommend going to, I don't know what bookstore is near you, but any of your local bookstores, and finding books that Disney has made. Yeah, Disney Hyperion. My brain was trying to think of the company that makes them, and just looking at at recent movies, because they like to make books over the movies that recently came out, so I'd assume there's some over on Kanto. I love that movie. I don't know about you, but I really love that. Books you're talking about probably don't have happy endings. At the same time, I don't like the classic stories that have. I only like the. Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. That yeah, I completely understand. If that's what you're looking for, like I said, I would recommend going to Hoopla, which is the website, not the website, the app I talked about. Was family. Okay, then I think the perfect choice for you is picking up Percy Jackson if you have not read that. Percy Jackson is meant for young children, but anyone can read it. I read it before the like age that it's meant for when I first read the series, and it has a lot of humor. It's really fun. There are some dark moments to it, but nothing scary. And the ending, it does have 5 different books in the series, so the endings are like cliffhangers, which make you want to come back. But it's a really, really good book if you're wanting a happy, fun, enjoyable book to read. I would really recommend that. And if, like I said, it's going to become a Disney Plus show. So the first book is The Lightning Thief. That one is really, really good. It's not like I said, it's not a official Disney movie yet. Don't watch the 20th Century Fox movies. They're awful, and definitely, from what I've heard, not what you want. But I would really recommend the books because they're so much different than the movies. I don't know if you've ever watched the movies, but don't expect that at all. It's really, really fun. It's a fun series to read. It has a lot of humor. It's a very fun and uplifting book series. Oh, that's really cool. My sister actually has some of those Winnie the Pooh books too. Yeah, so I think if is what you're looking for, I would really recommend the Percy Jackson series. It's about this 12-year-old kid, and he has ADHD and dyslexia, and he doesn't really feel like there's a spot where he gets to be himself because of his ADHD and dyslexia. And it's about how, because he's a demigod, how he goes through his life and becoming the person that he is at the end of the book series. And it's a really funny book series. It's really it makes me laugh a lot, at least, and it makes a lot of my friends that have read it also laugh. It's really fun and uplifting. There's some really great characters. There's also a musical that was on Broadway, so if you are thinking about going into it but you're not quite sure, you can always listen to the soundtrack, and if you're like, yeah, this sounds awesome, then just go pick up the book. You can find it basically anywhere, just at your local library or at a local bookshop or whatever. Yeah, it is. It's about Greek mythology. Um, so it has that it's not like it's not exactly a fairy tale, but it has that fantasy kind of vibe to it. There's centaurs and satyrs and all this other stuff. There are gods in it too, which is really cool. If you like the movie Hercules, you would probably like this too. Although Hercules doesn't follow a lot of Greek mythology that is actually what people believed, it still has characters like Hercules in it. The main character is the son of Poseidon, but Zeus is in there a lot, and Athena. There's children of Athena, the main character's best friend. Annabeth is a child of Athena. So yeah, it's not fairy. It's not exactly a fairy tale, but it's kind of like that. Oh, they're making a TV show. It's going on Disney Plus. It's not going to be animated, but I personally think it would be better animated because of the style of the books. So yeah, that one I would really recommend if you want lighthearted kind of a book series. From what I've heard so far, it's not, but Disney could always change their mind. The cast has not been announced yet. A couple months ago, it was greenlit, which means that it's actually going to happen. We just heard a couple days ago we're getting 8 episodes in the season, and it's based off the first book in the series, The Lightning Thief. So if you are wanting to get ready to watch that, you can read The Lightning Thief, but it's not coming out for a really long time. Like I just said, the cast hasn't even been announced yet. So you should go read the series if you want. And if you like the Percy Jackson series, there's plenty of others. A series that it's the Percy Jackson series, or it's written by Rick Riordan, and there's a lot of different other parts of the series too. There are 4 different sections, or actually 5. I forgot about one of them. It's the Percy Jackson series. Then you'll read The Heroes of Olympus, which is about the Percy Jackson series, and they add on Roman mythology. Then the third series is about Egyptian mythology, and then the fourth series is about Apollo and how he become and we get to follow Apollo's character, which is the goddess of poetry and music. So yeah, if you are interested, it's really, really good. I actually have a couple videos talking about it, so if you want to find more information about it, I think I have a couple more videos. Oh, there are 5 books in the Percy Jackson series itself. In the overall series that follows all the mythologies that Rick Riordan writes about, in the Percy Jackson series itself is 5. But if you read every single book Rick has ever written about mythology, which kind of have all the mythologies books series kind of come together in a way. So if you end up reading them, there's 5 in the first series, 5 in the second. Oh yeah, I remember that show. 3 in the Kang Chronicles series and 5 in the Trials of Apollo, and then there's some short stories too. So yeah, if you are thinking about that, I would really recommend them. I've shown them to a ton of different people, and every single person I've talked to has recommended them and said that they loved them. So, and like I said, there's a musical, so if you are not certain about it, you can watch this musical. I think there's even the Broadway version illegally recorded on YouTube. I'm not sure if it's still up, but I knew at a time it was. Yeah, I know Thomas the Tank Engine. I know that show, yeah. There used to be like, oh cool, I didn't know that part. It's not a show that I have watched in a really long time, but I do know about it, and when I have watched it. So that's really interesting though. I love learning about different kinds of TV shows. Um, yeah, that's really interesting. Um, so I hope that helped you out. If you need any other book recommendations, I can try my best. I would also recommend the Chronicles of Narnia. That would be another one I would recommend if you are wanting something like that. That's a really good book series too. Trying to think of something else. Of course, Harry Potter. But I think everyone knows Harry Potter. Oh, that's really cool. Awesome. About Thomas the Tank Engine? Oh, yeah, cool. Um, that's awesome. I'm glad you have found some books that you really like. I, yeah. I am reading, um, I just finished reading, oh, what was it? Oh, a book called Long Way Down, which I don't think you would like. So, but, um, from what I have heard, but that is a good one. And I think you should, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I will have to check it out on YouTube. Cool. That's awesome. I I'm glad you can find joy in trains. I just like doing the honk your horn thing with trains around. That's about the extent in like playing with train cars. Oh, cool. I didn't know that it was written um in Britain. That's awesome. I've le- you I've learned so much about Thomas the Train, and I had never known before. This is a really good cool thing. Um yeah, like I'm not that interested in trains, but I really do like fairy tale books. I think they're a lot of fun. Um even if some of them are kind of crazy. I don't normally read those, like the old versions of Cinderella and all that kind of stuff. I don't normally read those because those are absolutely insane. But that seems like a lot of fun. It seems like a good book to read because I really do like fun, joyful kind of fairy tale books too. Oh, interesting. I never knew that. Oh. Hmm. Is Lori's a term that many people use in that book series? Or I to be honest, I know nothing about trains, so you're teaching me a ton about trains right now. Cool. This has been really. It's always really cool to get to hear other people's perspective on books because the books that I normally read are not the same as everyone else's, so it's really cool to be able to hear different people's perspectives. Like booktubers or things like that, or something that I really like watching or listening to, or whatever, any form of it. It's really cool. Yeah, that's interesting. That would be a fun book to read. Um, oh, cool. Awesome. When they find out Sir Thomathan Hat is known, I guess they try not to be offended, but they try to get interesting. But I do believe that a few American Thomas fans out there that are used to the name Sir Thomathan Hat as the Fat Controller. Oh, so is that what his name is in the book? Did they change it for the show? Because that's what it seemed like you were saying, but I'm not quite certain. Because I haven't watched the show in a really long time. Like a lot of the show in a really long time. I watched on and off episodes when people were like, hey, do you want to go watch this show? But it's not a show that I really have watched a lot of in a long time. That's awesome. I'm glad you. Yes, because at first, when they were going to do the show for Shining Time Station, I guess it became problematic for some. Yeah, that would make sense. Because of all the things that are happening in America, that would make sense. So that's interesting. I never knew that. I'm someone that really likes to watch documentaries, although I don't know anything about that show personally. I do like to watch documentaries. If you like documentaries like this, and of course I'll never forget about Shining Time Station. It was the American spin-off of Thomas the Tank Engine. Definitely part of the Thomas universe. Okay. Oh, awesome. I really liked watching documentaries. You talked about how you like Frozen 2. There's actually a documentary about the making of Frozen 2 on Disney Plus that I watched around when it came out, that is really good, and also is just, it shows how crazy filmmaking is, and if you like that kind of stuff, I would really recommend that. Another thing that I would recommend if you like learning things about Disney TV shows, I know Thomas the Tank Engine isn't Disney, but if you like learning about any kinds of movies or things, I remember from Shining Time Station the part of the fictional railroad known as Indian Valley Railroad. Interesting. Okay, cool. I also really like Imagineering. That's not about the movies, it's about the Disney parks, but that's a really good one too. Did you learn all this from like YouTube videos or documentaries, or how did you learn all this? Because you know a lot of information about this TV show and these books, which is really awesome. And I believe it or not, I found out the Indian Valley Railroad, even though nowadays it's fictional, it's based on a real. Your comment went away before I could read it. It's used to be in Northern California somewhere. Oh, interesting. Huh. So it's based off a real railroad. At least the name is based off a real railroad. That's cool. I didn't know that either. That's interesting. Cool. So I feel like, oh, I guess the original Indian Valley Railroad went out of business, I think, in the 1950s, early 60s. Cool. Awesome. So now I feel like I have to say some really cool facts, because you're just telling me all about something I had no idea about. So you talked about how you like fairy tales. So Sleeping Beauty or Aurora only had 14 lines in all of the Sleeping Beauty movie. That's a really cool fact. Jonathan Groff, the guy that played Kristoff in Frozen, is the same guy that played King George in Hamilton. So that's really cool. Anyway, the show of Shining Time Station, there was a little magical man named Mr. Conductor who was 18 and tall. Oh. I don't know really what that means. Oh. Who is 18 and tall, maybe? 18 and tall. I don't know what that means, but cool. Interesting. Okay. So it was awesome to get to know those things about something that I had never heard even about. I of course had watched the show, but I didn't even know they were based off a book series. The most popular thing about Shining Time Station is that there would be kids that hung out at the station. Mr. Conductor would appear, he would have fun with them, he would give them advice. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Okay, well, it was great talking to you, but I've got to end the live now. I hope you're having a great day. If you want to go check out the Percy Jackson series, like I talked about, and I will have to go learn some more about that series that you were talking about. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and stay safe. I will talk to you later if you come on another live. This was really fun. Bye. Okay, that's an awesome fact. I will see you later. Bye.